Okay, what is your name?
Bill Piezinski.
When did you start playing your sport or sports?
I started playing golf, which ended up being my primary sport when I was about 8 or 9 years old.
What or who inspired you to become an athlete?
I was surrounded within my family and extended family by a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles who were athletes in their youth and then coaches in their later years. And so it was in our lifestyle from an early age. And so that influenced me to want to pursue being an athlete and being competitive like they were.
What is your favorite memory from sports, either competing or watching?
Well, I would say one of my favorite events was qualifying for and then traveling to the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. I lived in Eastern Pennsylvania, but was able to fly for the first time in my life in going to the national championship in San Diego. So that was a great experience for me, competitively and personally. And then a lot of my experiences I fondly remember from my collegiate days playing golf with teammates who I got to know well enough that they became lifelong friends. And so traveling and training with them really left a mark in my life.
And where did you play in college?
I played at Catawba College in North Carolina.
Uh, yeah, back in the day, in the summer, what did a typical training day look like for you?
Yeah, if I during my teenage years, I was able to work at a golf course, so it was basically long days spent at the local public municipal golf course where my parents would drop me off in the morning. I would work for several hours there, getting to be around people who were at different levels in their golf game and enjoying their company. But then later in the afternoon, going back to work and train on my own game, which included spending time at the practice facility and then going out onto the course to hopefully apply what I had worked on earlier that day.
And going into the competitions, did you have any pregame rituals or superstitions?
I didn't have a lot of superstitions per se. My routines mostly were centered around the hour to hour and a half prior to my tee time, which included usually some time in the short game area, putting and chipping, and then going to the driving range to work on the long game, and then going back to the short game area prior to my tee time to kind of get a feel for the greens and the short game area of whatever course I was playing at. But I didn't necessarily have a lot of superstitions.
Who is your biggest role model in sports?
Wow. Mostly it was centered around people I knew. I mean, I guess I was a big fan of Tom Watson, a PGA player, when I was growing up. So it was fun to watch him, and I suspect my fandom of him caused me to try to emulate him and his game to some extent, just because of the success I got to watch him have on TV. But ultimately, it was a lot of the better players in my area, even some of the ones that were my age that I competed against, but also looked up to because their game was so polished and refined, that they were role models for me on how they trained and were able to play so well.
Um, as a multi-sport athlete, what is the most challenging part about the two sports you play, basketball and golf?
Well, I don't, yeah, actually, I only found benefits with it. Obviously, it would be just time, would be the biggest constraint, is that sometimes there would be overlap or conflicting schedules that wouldn't allow me to do both at the same time. So that would be the biggest challenge. But it was certainly fun to be able to have the aspect of true team sport as well as a little bit more of an individual sport. I cherish both for what they offer to an individual and what they, the fun and fellowship you get with each.
Okay, and finally, what advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue your sport?
So, if I were to give some advice, it would be to conjure up as much patience and discipline to have fun with the sport first. I'm not sure you could, especially with golf, be incredibly successful, whether it be successful at your score or just success at having an enjoyable afternoon playing a sport that you can play for a long time without a little bit of patience and discipline. You face a lot of things in golf, whether it's a challenging course or tough competitors or even the weather. So in order to be prepared to face all those things, I imagine discipline and patience have to be at the utmost.